Alright, hello everybody, I think we're live now. I believe. I'm just gonna wait. There we go. We're live. Hello everybody, we're all outside Buckingham Palace where the crowd are slowly gathering. We got the media, mainstream media also gathering. I'm actually here with Christo, your favourite presenter on Talk TV. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm coming out to do a bit of work myself.
Yeah.
And,
when did you get here?
I got here about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Because I was asked to do a couple of lives for some international channels.
Yeah.
And jumped at the chance because obviously there is a potential that this is a pretty big story. I think it's still important to stress we don't know what's going on.
No, of course, yeah.
But there are some elements of it that are pretty unprecedented that we know so far, i.e. the fact that it's really rare that you get a health update in the middle of the day about a serving monarch.
Yeah.
Released by doctors.
Yep.
That's one element of it that's pretty unprecedented.
Yep.
The other one being that obviously all the family and the extent of the family gathering.
Yeah. Even Harry and Meghan and everybody.
Even Harry and Meghan, the Cambridges, Charles and Camilla. Anne, I think, was already up there. The Duke of York, Prince Andrew, already there.
Yep.
Edward and Sophie. So that's something that's pretty unprecedented as well. So that's not to say that the worst has happened, and I think it's important that we point that out. But those things in themselves are a story.
Yes, exactly. I mean, when we talked about, as you said, all the stuff that came out, including, as we said earlier, the BBC presenters changing their clothes very quickly, sort of, you could say, prematurely, because nothing has actually came out publicly. Obviously, that's kind of what this problem.
Yeah, but let's not forget as well that and again, this is stressing that this might not have been the case that this has happened, but when the Queen Mother died, there was a really big controversy around the BBC not getting something known as the mood of the nation within the organisation correct. Right. And Peter Sissons at the time didn't wear a black tie to announce the news, and they got absolutely torn to shreds for it. So I imagine
they apologised and everything.
They did apologise for it. They acknowledged they got it wrong. So I imagine that they're being extremely cautious now about making sure that if they do have to announce some unpleasant news, that they get the tone and the mood.
The tone I think is important, and to be fair, that the burden is on the BBC because it's the public broadcasting essentially firm. But there's a lot of other channels. You got the recent channels, slightly. Every channel is younger than the BBC anyway. Yeah. So they're under more pressure, I guess, right? Everything.
They are, and I think that even though we have lots of other channels around, and they are brilliant other channels, I might say. I work for some of them myself, so I would say that. I think a lot of people at a time like this would go to the BBC initially. I think then they'll move to other channels for the analysis. That's the kind of analysis they wouldn't get on the BBC. But I think initially they'll get the news from there and then move on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're going to show you the crowd. I literally just got here and I saw about an American couple. They had tears on their faces already. The American tourists were like crying.
We will not, if something terrible has happened. We will not see a story the like of which there will be no story that we've ever seen like it. Britain will go into a collective meltdown, and partly I say rightfully so, because this has been our monarch for 70 years.
That's the thing, we're not used to that sort of change. We haven't experienced it, none of our generations.
No, you'd have to be over 80 years of age to have experienced a monarch that isn't, to have a memory, I'd say, of a monarch that is not Queen Elizabeth.
Because it's not just about the obviously the individual. The monarch is the role of the crown, and it's the system change and everything like that. And that makes the whole kind of situation. Even today, it's a sad day in terms of the actual medical updates. It's sad because you got the personal side of it as an individual, as a human. But you got the crown.
As a family that are sad that someone close to them is ill, and that's something that is a story within itself. And if she is unwell, then we hope that we will get an update to say that the things are improving, that perhaps her health is on the mend, perhaps it is a false alarm, which it might well be. I mean, we don't know that it isn't at the moment, and it's important again to stress that. However, yes, if something more sinister has happened. However, to pick up on your point, the moment that were to happen, immediately Charles would be king.
Yes.
There is
no transition.
complete continuity.
Yeah.
It never ends. The crown goes to Charles.
That's the power of the system, by the way. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and look, many people say it's an antiquated system. Some people say that it's balmy. I mean, I happen to believe it's a bit balmy, but I also happen to love it at the same time.
Yeah, it's messed up, but it's worked. Generally speaking, as long as it avoids dictatorship, I'm fine. Basically.
Well, it's like but also if you were to ask me, do I want another elected politician or would I have someone like the Queen? I choose the Queen every day of the week.
Yeah. I mean, people complain about corrupt politicians. Say, let's also make the head of state a politician. Like, you're going to increase corruption.
Absolutely, and I don't want someone. The advantage with the constitutional monarchy that we have is that she doesn't have to lie to me to get to that position.
Exactly.
Because she's got it.
And
whether she wants it or
she
not,
can't be corrupted.
that's the disadvantage for her, is that whether she wants it or not, she's got it. And that is why I would take what she has to say on matters and her advice on matters more than any of the Boris Johnsons or the Tony Blairs, anyone else.
Yes.
Really. Perhaps the exception of Thatcher.
Just a little bit. It's a good point.
And of course, let's not forget at a time where one of the biggest changes in our society from 79 to 90, we were presided over by two very strong, powerful women. Now we've had female prime ministers since, but we've never had the amount of change that we have seen under a female prime minister, under any prime minister, one could argue, than we had under Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
And so anyone that says that we don't have a country of equality, well, I think that wouldn't be the case, really.
Absolutely, yeah, spot on. Are you going to stand around here for a bit?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to keep waiting to do updates for other places. Updates to my own Twitter as well.
Yes, check him out. By the way.
_radio.
There we go, Chris _
I can see a lot of people are commenting and are really, really sad.
Absolutely. I'm just going to take you guys towards the palace there, show you the crowd, and then I'll be back around here. I'll see you in a second. But there's very important points that Krista mentioned. One issue, as we said, is the 70-year, or just over 70 years now, reign. It's not just about the individual, it's not just about the crown, it's the monarch, it's about the role of the crown, that there's the system. So last few generations, we have not been used to that sort of radical change. So put aside of course, you've got the human story of this and the sad story of it. But even in terms of the actual system change, that's the kind of the complicated problem, because no one's used to it. We don't know how to actually react. Not when I say we, I'm not just talking about the people. I'm talking about everything from the media establishments to the political establishments, but most importantly, the Commonwealth and our interests abroad. So there will be a meltdown everywhere, and even right now, without speculating or going too far already, regardless of what a lot of you guys already think and have the feelings, but I can't really say anything in terms of confirmation. Regardless of how we are feeling or what we think we know, there is a bigger kind of a game, which is the system around the world, and how do we actually keep that stable? Considering, yes, as Crystal said, Prince Charles will become instantly king. Yeah, sure. So the continuity will actually exist, but does that actually mean the stability could continue? That is one of the fears of this sad day. I mean, even today's sad news, even the medical update is throwing everybody into meltdown. There are issues going on across the Commonwealth. We've got literally American tourists here crying. So it's not just about the Houses of Parliament here. It's also about our interests abroad. I'm just going to show you around Buckingham Palace here. Let's just go through there. Let's go towards the gate.
Just now.
Right, let's have a look at some of the comments that you guys have been sending, the live chat, and then we're going to go towards the media cabal, see what the idiots are talking about over there. So we have a lot of compliments, a lot of left-wing Republicans attacking Britain. That's just normal these days, unfortunately. There's There is no future in England's dream. We have Outside saying very solemn. We have Nick saying she was such a rock for people during the lockdown days. Absolutely agree. Speculations in the live chat, of course, going on. Paul says, any new information? Just speculators. Yeah, I mean that is the biggest problem. I thought going forward, today's updates, we're not really going to be doing any political news. We're not going to monetize the videos because there's no point in essentially profiting from these sort of updates. This is simply about raising the information, because again, you got Twitter, you got social media, people saying everything, and even the mainstream media will be sometimes getting things wrong or will be late to the game. So the power of new media and access to information means that we can actually simply keep you guys up to date, especially if you're not in London, if you're not around here or Balmoral. It's the only way to actually find out what's going on. I've brought myself here to Buckingham Palace to kind of just keep you guys posted. This is not for political news, this is not for profit, it's not for monetization or anything like that. We're simply here to be in the middle of it, see what's going on. I'm going to show you the media tents as well. So everyone has been actually preparing over the last few hours. There we go. Now, one thing I was going to mention before we actually go, firstly, that the rain is absolutely chaotic. It's not easy. Okay, I wish I had an umbrella. That would have been nice, but I didn't really think about any of this. Okay, let's go over here quickly. It's too crowded. One of the main things, it's not just what I said earlier about what we have been used to, which is 70 years of no system change, no transition or nothing. The stability we got spoiled. The other problem is that the people don't really focus on the achievements. Some people they go with nostalgia. Nostalgia is always there, but in reality, this is a queen that went through radical changes. You've got the empire, then the fall of empire, and actually it was because of Her Majesty and the crown that they prevented a complete fallout when it came to the empire. I always say, layman terms, instead of a fall, we devolved the empire that we had. The fact that we were able to keep the Commonwealth or devolve it into the Commonwealth as a system, despite the fact that, of course, we still have the overseas territories. But that is a very important point, because we literally have people from India, who are from many other places in Commonwealth, post those days. They are proudly coming to this country, or have come to this country, or even if they still live in India, they are absolutely fine with their links and connections to the British family. Whereas that you can't really say that about the French, the colonies in North Africa. You can't really say that about the Spanish colonies. You can't say that about the German Empire. I'm not really sure how that went, because they had their own problems. But this is the power of this family, the way they've handled it. Not the whole family, of course. We're talking about Elizabeth and Philip. Their modernizing program that they did was needed to become relevant, to stay relevant. But the sad thing is, that had some consequences. In the long run, it was in fact, maybe it was inevitable, but it was Philip's reforms and Elizabeth's reforms that kind of resulted in the power and the magic of the crown being undermined. So over the last few years, if you go out there and defend the Queen or the crown, people could only say, oh, well, it brings money, tourism, or they simply kind of focus on the fact that she's been good. And if it were a different member of the family, it wouldn't have been the same thing. These are true. But the most powerful part of it is the fact that it's a system. It's the constitutional monarchy, the way we exercise it. It doesn't matter what we think of the family members. It's not really about the person who wears the crown. It's simply about the fact that it prevents two things. It prevents actual authoritarian dictatorship in the name of a figurehead. And it also prevents complete corrupt politicians from taking over. So that helps. The way, yes, she's unelected. We know that. She's born into it. Yet, the way the constitution works is that that's all she does. She can't really completely become Charles I, because we have the mechanisms in place to prevent that. At the same time, by not having an elected head of state like a president, which means that person will be a corrupt politician. That's the whole point. You would think that we will like it. You think that means people will have more power, more say in who is going to be the head of state. But in reality, you're giving more power to the political class. And you have one person as the head of state and the head of government. So we already have problems. I can see comments about the World Economic Forum and the globalist institutions. We already have those problems. Imagine on top of that, we empowered the political class in the UK to be even more corrupt. So things are not perfect, because as we said, we have this wave of the globalist entities going around. And to be fair, I can see comments about Charles and his connections to the WF. Everybody is skeptical. I'm with you guys, I know. But we have to kind of stop doing that. We have to stop not discussing the WF nonsense. The World Economic Forum is the leading movement of destroying national sovereignties, of destroying democracies, of destroying people power. And if you allow any politician, or for that matter, any member of a royal family like Charles, getting close to the World Economic Forum, as we have done, that is absolutely dangerous. Absolutely dangerous for the future of not just this country, but for the people around the world. This is the only concern, the biggest concern that we have when it comes to the current situation. That's my only biggest problem. When you have already politicians being in the pocket of WF, the massive lobby group, they're going with the same narrative. Everybody's going with this. Everything is global. Everything. There are no problems that are local or national anymore. This is what they say, by the way. And this is the biggest problem. We have to stop doing that. We have to go back to nationalism and actually taking care of our own people first, instead of just destroying our own sovereignty and democracies, but just listening to the globalist elite. This is the big problem I have. So, Kev, thank you so much. Kev, one of our supporters members, saying, God save our gracious Queen. Thank you for updating us, Maya. No, thank you so much for all the support, guys. So I'm not going to keep you guys here too long. I'm going to basically stay around. And obviously, if there's any important update, we will come back to you guys very shortly. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's obviously been supporting us there. As I said, we're not going to focus on political news today. I'm not going to monetize this video. There's no point in profiting from any of this nonsense. The mainstream media going around gossiping. They're still making profit with their advertising. They do what they do, right? But we are where we are. God bless Britain, British people, and God save the Queen. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.